You, Marques Johnson, are a Hall of Famer. You're iconic. You're the first point forward. Nobody can take away your body of work.
Yeah.
No one can stamp you. Your peers, everybody in your era, the era after you, everybody that fight for you, that's how we ride.
Five-time All-Star Marques Johnson.
Alongside Marques Johnson.
What's up, everybody? Hey, this is the Here District, captain of this vessel. And I got my first mate, my number one son, Kris Johnson.
What up? Talk to me.
Holla.
Let it rain, man. Let it rain.
I guess I go, guess what? We're going back to TGI Friday. Yeah. Can't pass the soda breakfast.
Can't pass the soda breakfast. Go fight.
Welcome, everybody, to the Here District. Marques Johnson.
You're listening to a Bucks Plus audio production on the Bucks Plus Network.
Your weekly pulse on the Milwaukee Bucks, straight from a Bucks legend. This is Here District with Marques Johnson, alongside his son and 1995 NCAA champion, Kris. Here's MJ.
All right, everybody, welcome to Here District. I'm the captain of this vessel, Marques Johnson, my son, Kris Johnson. We're the only father and son tandem in the history of the NCAA to win a national championship at the same school, UCLA. What's up, Kris?
Dylan, baby.
All right. Now, look, so we got a special guest in the house tonight. And, man, we go way, way back. Baron Davis.
Man.
Baron,
Yes,
welcome
sir.
to Here District. What an honor. What a privilege. Brandon Jennings said you're the godfather of Los Angeles basketball. How's that make you feel, man? He's the godfather. You're a godfather now.
It's I sit on the back of the wise man, right? So if I think it's an honor, but I'm nothing without Marques Johnson, right? Nothing without Marques Johnson. Come on, man. The Marques Johnsons, the Dwayne Polees, the Casper Wares, the J Dubs, the John Williams. Then you talking about, it's so many legends. Look what Kris accomplished as well, as the big OG, right? And so for me, like talking about being a godfather, it's like I report to the wise men. My DNA is in the wise men because there's somebody behind that you got to have counsel with. And, the beauty of LA is we all know our history and we all pay homage. I would say, and for me, it's like, that's all I want to do, so being on this show, I'm the biggest Marques Johnson fan.
Well, I appreciate you.
I'm the biggest Kris Johnson fan. You know why? Because I knew where I needed to go to get a bucket down the stretch. You feel me? On that elbow? Okay. On that elbow? Come on, dude. Oh, my goodness.
But look, man, so this whole LA connection, your relationship with Kris, my first coming in contact with you, man, it started like in around 1989, 90. Michael Solomon, former Crenshaw Cougar, ran a great program at the Inglewood YMCA. Yeah. And the coach of Kris's team, my best friend, the son of Maxine Waters, Ed Waters, current coach of Crenshaw, he kept telling me, man, have you seen this kid named Baron? I'm like, no, what's Baron? What, 10 years old, whatever. I'm telling you him, he's special. I saw you play at the Inglewood YMCA, man, and he was right on the money. But just, what do you remember about those days? Paul Pierce came up through that same program that same year. Just how competitive that was. How did that help shape you in terms of who you eventually turned out to be?
I remember it like it was yesterday. I just talked to Michael. I talked to Michael, and I was telling Michael he played for Michigan. He was bigger than everybody. He was like a Jalen Rose, Chris Webber. I was like, man, who is this? I was the smallest dude out there. But coming from South Central, that was my first time really ever getting out the hood. Usually it was Bethune Park. So I, grew up Bobby Watson, Casper Ware, watch musicians, camp fundamentals, and all of our games was like Bethune Park. I get out of church. We was on Slauson and Compton, 55th and Morgan. And so all that was like East Side. When I got to Inglewood, it was like, man, this is like a whole, this is, what is this? You know, I'm by the Forum. Like we can walk around, right? It's at the YMCA. And then I start seeing, like, I saw Andre Miller.
Yeah.
I saw Paul Pierce. I saw Milton Palacio, right? And I was like, damn, you know, it's some ballers. Keith Kincaid. That wound up going to Dominguez. And remember Burgers? It was a dude named Burgers.
Oh, yeah.
He was cold too. And like my first taste of Inglewood was like, that kind of took me to a whole nother place, right? Because it was like, okay, I get to leave Manchester and San Pedro, man, and go all the way to Manchester and Crenshaw. That's like, man, that's damn near Disneyland, right?
Yeah.
And you at a park, you know, and it was so great because, you know, Darby Park is, you know, they the same side and the same color as my color over there. So it was just like, I ain't had no worries.
you was chilling, DD.
Oh, man. I wasn't worried about nothing, dude. Because, you know, as a kid, you just know what's in your neighborhood. Yep. And so Inglewood was like, wow, like that wasn't like gangbanging wasn't prevalent.
Right.
It was sports. So that's all I knew Inglewood for, the Lakers, sports, football, basketball. And so that kind of shaped like my appreciation for like, damn, like somebody care about me to like take me somewhere outside LA that's not the East Side.
And so now moving forward, man, the first time I saw you in high school, I showed up at Crossroads. I think Josiah might have been a seventh grader at Crossroads in your younger years. But you were sitting on a lunch table. You had on a wig. You were kind of dressed up, but you were rehearsing a scene or doing something, and you came, you know, somebody goes over to you, whatever. But it was cool because I'm a drama guy myself, but just that Crossroads. Kate Hudson, Zoe Deschanel, Jack Black. I mean, that had to be just a fascinating experience for a kid coming out of South Central to be thrust into that environment at Crossroads High School.
Oh, man, it was crazy because it was like everything you saw on TV was actually happening, you know, at the school, or a lot of their parents were behind the scenes. So it gave me a look of a whole nother level of LA where it was like, oh, like, damn, you don't have to fail, right? Like you could be, you know, working in Hollywood as a stage manager, right? Or, you know, you can be working in basketball as the ticket person, you know, at the Forum, right? And Crossroads kind of opened my world up to like, hey, man, there's no failing, you know, when you come this far. And then on the art side, art was an expression, right? Art is how you know, deal with trauma. And so that allowed me to understand that these kids were just the same as I was.
Yeah.
Right. And they had struggles, maybe different struggles than I had struggles. They had different, you know, they may have places to go and a home and all that to go to that was bigger, but they had a lonely home too, you know, and whether it was divorce. And so you start learning like, damn, like what's divorce? Right. Like what's divorce? You know, you start learning all this shit and you realize like, you know, art is an opportunity to like relieve some of that trauma. And so that's why Crossroads for me was so fascinating. I took pottery class, I took dance class, I took drama class. Man, I still got some of them sculptures. I still be going to the pottery shop, right? And then I think from the basketball side of it, I saw how focused those kids were.
Yeah.
How much they loved what they was doing. They was like, when they was acting, and you know this, Pops, you know this, you know, being an actor, it's like they was in character. Like they come into school with the wig on and the whole costume. Like I gotta go perform at 5. I'm in character the whole time.
Yeah.
I didn't even understand. I didn't understand it. But I start hanging out in the drama department, just seeing how people was working. We had the best orchestra. Kids was flying in. This young lady in my class, Danielle Denise, she was from Australia. She, when we graduated, she missed graduation because she was the best opera singer and was on tour.
Wow.
You know,
right? Yeah.
So,
well, the one thing it shows, I mean, the analogy I love is the duck on the pond and how smooth they make it look, but you look underneath and the feet are just moving. I mean, the easier that you make it look, the harder you've got to work at it. The more preparation, the more diligent you've got to be at your craft, whatever that happens to be. And that's a fascinating point about what you picked up from these creatives, these actors, these musicians, in terms of what they did.
And BD, I had a question kind of following up on that because, as you know, I have my South Central roots. And when you go to schools that are predominantly white and it's a lot different than your neighborhood, it sort of sometimes causes a conflict within yourself because now you're in a school where you're trying to adjust, adapt to the scenario, but you still got to go back to the crib. How did you balance spending that time at Crossroads, then going back over on 85th, you know, and still kind of keep staying true to who you were at your core?
Yeah, I think it's a lot of imposter syndrome, right? Because it's like you don't fit in, right? And like as a kid, man, it's like, man, I was baked this way. You know what I mean? This is my view, my perception on this bubble of the world. Now I'm going all the way over here. And then, hold on, what's this like Disneyland over here? You mean I can, I don't have to commit a crime?
I can get this off?
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I can make money for doing.
It's like, hold on, class? Who going to class? Oh, man, I remember my 9th grade year, I had 136 tardies, 93 unexcused absences for class because I was just going to other people's class. Like, man, what do y'all do for a living? Hey, man, what are you trying? I was in drama class. They was like, you're not even in this class. I was like, I ain't tripping. Like, dumb. Can you imagine?
Oh.
Yeah, it's just you don't fit.
Yeah.
Right. You don't fit. And then you trying to wiggle your way into this this middle ground, this middle class where you can like be both, right? Because you expanding. And I think, you know, the hard thing is that you are the expectations.
Right.
Right. The expectations on this side versus, you know, the fight, right? And the prove it. Right? Yeah. I don't have to prove to my homeboys. I just don't have to get killed. You know what I mean? Right. Real now, talk. If I don't have to prove nothing to them, but I got to prove this every day. And so that whole like expectation and prove it as you start making it, it's like, or you start like, I didn't even say making it. You start learning that you can navigate both of these worlds. It becomes anxious at times. But, you know, as you learn and grow, you realize that people are people.
Yeah.
Right. People are people. And especially in this city, it's like LA, South Central, Santa Monica, 2 different worlds, right? Crenshaw, East Side, 2 different worlds. And so Inglewood, Crenshaw, all that is 2 different worlds. And so I've been always like, I say I'm a kid of the journey from South Central to Santa Monica, stopping Crenshaw, you know, stopping Inglewood, stopping Marina Del Rey. You just start as you grow, and you know this, Chris, because you know you did it in high school, going back to Crenshaw. You know what I mean? And it's sort of like you are who you are, and you just have to accept that. Right. And you gotta like let other people know that like, man, I'm everything.
Yeah.
I'm not just this. I'm not just this. I'm all of it. I'm all of it. And it's hard for a kid from LA to be able to like communicate that in a city where, communication is tricky.
Yeah. Well, so Baron, let's talk about your basketball legacy, man. And I opened up the show by saying that Brandon Jennings said that you were the godfather of LA basketball. I mean, if you talk about the great point guards out of LA, the all-time greats, I mean, you've got to rank top 3 to 5 in there. Raymond Lewis is the guy they always put at number 1 before your time.
1, 2.
Yeah, you know.
Nobody else. Wait.
Hey, 3 to 5.
Well, no.
1, 2, 1. Only
1 to
Raymond.
2.
Only Raymond
Well,
Lewis.
only Raymond. Okay.
Look,
I was trying to think. Well, let's talk about that. Russell Westbrook. He didn't really blow up until after. Yeah, like he wasn't that highly regarded coming out of high school when he first
got
came
better.
out.
He got
better. Brandon Jennings.
Brandon Jennings was incredible. Like, I would say he was the next kind of like incredible anomaly as far as LA point guards, right?
Yeah, young player. He went from high school to Rome, right? He went from high school to Rome to play
but
ball.
He left and went to Oak Hill, so
that's right.
We can't ride with that.
Marcus Williams, the same thing. Crenshaw
Marcus Williams
left, went to Oak Hill. So
very nice.
Very nice. Pro career, very nice.
Yeah,
hey, Jock Vaughn. You got Jock Vaughn. You got
a lot of dudes.
Yeah.
James Harden, Artesia, including him.
Yeah, right.
You got to put James up there.
Somewhere.
Right.
So James belongs on that list. I'm trying to, and even older school, Gil Goodrich. I mean, that's before your time, early 60s, what he was doing. I mean, 44 in the championship game at UCLA. So he's, and that's
Dino Tanner.
That's going way back. But what do you see as your legacy? I mean, you made the All-Star team a couple of times. I mean, are you satisfied with your career? When you look back on it, do you feel a sense of fulfillment in terms of, and I know we can't change it, and I know all that, but how do you feel about your legacy and how your career played out?
I think it is just now that I'm starting to really like watch games and enjoy watching the game, just to see because it was almost like I didn't get a chance to like get over the hump. Right. It was like I was always 2 months out, a month out. Like if I had load management, I think it could have been a different story. But when you think about the journey, man, come on. Off the east side, off the east side, all-star, had an opportunity to go up against Iverson in the playoffs, T-Mac, play against the greats, D-Wade, LeBron, Kobe, Chris Paul, all the greats, even the Nick Van Exels to see John Stockton. Like, I just kind of like lived out my life dream, And then I think about the journey again because it was, hey, I went to Crossroads and I still like managed to put on for the city.
Yeah,
then
that
I went
matters.
to UCLA,
That matters.
And then I was still able to put on for the city, right? And then I went to the league, and then I never forgot about the city, right? And when I look at why I got injured, how I played, right, it was a different reason when I was playing basketball. It was a different reason. It was a different outlet. It was a different joy. Right, it was a different stress reliever. Chris would tell you, like, in practice, like, man, run all day and play around all day, and when it's time to get down, it's like I'm picking up full, and I just love basketball.
Right,
and I think that was also a part of like why I play so hard, why I jump so, like why I tried to dunk on big dude. I thought it was just funny. I thought it was hilarious, but that's also why I got hurt. Right, and so I had to figure out now, I would say later, to accept that, watch the tape, comment on the tape, and then just appreciate the journey, right? Because I have a style and had a style that when I was thinking of what I was going to bring to LA, like I was thinking about how to cook up this style for LA point guards.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like, I mean, you look at the great Raymond Lewis, he was just like incredible, like watching his film. But up until then, there was nobody who played like that.
Right.
Could dunk, dribble, pull up, post up, get to the hole, pick up four. Like you had LA, you think you had more of the traditional point guard, a good college point guard, maybe a scoring point guard. But for me, it was more like the style. How do I give you a little bit of magic or Nick Van Exel? So I was just absorbing, what an LA basketball player would look like. And I wanted to be like that embodiment of this next generation. And so that's why I stay connected. So overall, feel great about it.
But and this gets me to this next question. And I've had personal experience with this. I've been a Hall of Fame finalist 3 times. I've come up short 3 times. But when I look at a guy like you, in terms of just iconic, in terms of your imprint on the game of basketball, and to be the second top 2 point guards in the history of a city, to be a young man that all these youngsters emulated and patterned their games after, to get into the league and do some of the things that you did, injuries notwithstanding, but to come in and dunk on, who's that dunk you had on? Was that Alonzo Mourning?
I dunked on Alonzo Mourning too.
Yeah, he dunked on him. Some of the most spectacular plays that we've ever seen for a guy your size. I mean, I don't know, man. Did you ever think about the Hall of Fame? Do you think that there's? Nope. Does it ever cross your mind in terms of the total body of work? And it's not just Hall of Fame is not the NBA Hall of Fame. It's the Basketball Hall of Fame. And your position as a basketball player, Baron, I mean, there's few who, from us that understand the game, from the civilians that maybe don't have that kind of an understanding. There's few guys that compare to who you are. B. Diddy, Baron Davis. When you say that name, I get excited. I get excited just on thinking about what you did.
Yeah, the only thing I think about the Hall of Fame, right, is I would love to get up in a room full of my peers and give a sick story. That's all. I would write the sickest speech ever in Hall of Fame history and go down like that because, man, it's a story to tell. Yeah. And why do I deserve to be somewhere where I ain't tripping? I am not tripping.
Right.
I'm not tripping at all.
Right. I don't blame you, bro.
I'm not tripping at all because you, Marques Johnson, are a Hall of Famer. You're iconic. You're the first point forward. Nobody can take away your body of work. No one can stamp you. Your peers, everybody in your era, the era after you, everybody that fight for you, that's how we ride. Yeah. And we don't care about none of that. Because when we start looking at the overall zeitgeist of basketball, West Coast, we going to get marginalized out anyway.
Facts.
You feel what I'm saying? We just like Snickers or something. You know what I mean? It's just a Snickers. Like we the same Snickers commercial. You know what I mean? Like we ain't even giving UCLA the credit. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
The Hall of Fame is body of work.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
Yes.
The Hall of Fame is body of work. Contributions to basketball. Go and check the facts on Marques Johnson. Right. Crenshaw, #1 team in the world in high school. UCLA. How many? 3?
Well, I had part of 1 championship, but first winner of the John Wooden Award, all that good
John
stuff.
Wooden Award winner. He set the tone.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Come on, man. We ain't playing with these people, man. I'm not. For me, I look in the Hall of Fame and say, damn, I love it. Like that would be cool to go and give a speech and, my kids to see that. But like, it's more about what the story I want to tell.
Right.
Okay. Because we all need to hear it, and we all need to kind of hear the perspective that, man, we need to make our own Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And I nominate you. You feel me?
And I nominate
straight up. Straight up.
Yeah.
Straight up.
I mean, in
straight
terms of contributions to the game. It's funny, Baron. When I got denied the second time, I was taking my daughter to an AAU game, and I got my phone lit up, and it was Clyde, Walt Frazier. Mm-hmm. I was like, I got to take this. I told her, yeah, baby, you go inside. I'll be in after the game starts. I said, what's up, Clyde? And Clyde had gotten rejected for the Hall of Fame. This is a man at 36 points, 19 assists in a game 7. He got rejected 3 or 4 times. He started off, Marques, F him. F him, man. Just F him. They did the same crap to me, man. F him, man. Don't let these people define who you are as a person, as a basketball player. Blah. And I always, he'll forever be one of my favorites, just because of that phone call that he gave me at that moment, you know.
Yeah, man. Nobody can define what you did,
please,
but your peers.
Yeah, right.
I believe it.
Right. They know. And I don't care about the commercials. You know what I mean? I don't care about how they commercialize the overall legacy of basketball. Like, it's just these people. Line them up. How about we do this? Line them up. Line up everybody in the Hall of Fame, right? Line them up. See where I measure out.
Yeah.
There's gotta be somebody I'm better than. There gotta be somebody I'm nicer than. Come on, man. We ain't gonna do that. We ain't, but like, and then that's my whole thing, right? So it's like, if I go in the Hall of Fame, somebody gonna be like, how they let him in? And I'm like, all right, dude. Right. So I'm cool. Just leave me out of it. Leave me out of it, because there's a part of going in that's like, man, there's some real ones.
Yeah.
So
listen, man.
Yeah.
They can't define you.
You are when it comes to LA basketball, you're the guy.
Right. And so are you. And that's what I'm saying. When you reach that level of being top whatever in a city, in a section of the country with some renowned talent that's come out of there. Come on. But talk about a controversial topic. Controversy is a bit of a stretch, but an interesting discussion that we've been having about a comment that LeBron made about Giannis in the 70s, 250 points.
We talked about that on the podcast with
Draymond.
You and
Draymond had a conversation about that.
They only give Draymond credit and because he say he only respect. Yeah, I understand his take, but the fact of the matter is, can you play in Chuck Taylor's Giannis?
Yeah, right. The conditions of the time.
Hey,
can you survive?
Can you go and? Yeah, so that's how we gotta respect eras, right?
Right.
We gotta respect every era, because the era that y'all played in, it was different conditions.
Yeah.
Right? The world was in a different place.
Yeah.
Finances was in a different place.
Yes.
Basketball was in its infancy, right? Nobody nobody cared about basketball but people who play basketball or people who watch basketball. Now, everybody and their mama care about basketball. Right? Yeah. So the commercialization of basketball, or the evolution, or the growth, let's say the growth, right? And the evolution of the game, it's only made it to where the players are the number one. It's a players league. They're the number one commodity. Take care of the commodity. Now, take all that care and put it in the 70s, where you got to tape your own ankles. You know what I mean? You got to tape your own ankles to your teammates at halftime smoking a cigarette. You know what I mean? Because they got to figure out if they're going to get a job or change careers, and you
different.
And you come and you a foreign player, a foreign person.
Yeah.
Right. And so you think about that. It's like some dudes can talent wise, obviously, can transcend every era. But you don't think it was a Giannis that played in the 70s? All them fools was built like Giannis.
Yeah.
Nate Thurman looking like Giannis.
And you dunk on them and scream, they firing on you after the game. It ain't it's just different. Like this is a different type of game.
I wanted to bring this part of it up because I feel like it's always been neglected whenever we get into this conversation about who could play in what era. So you mentioned the conditions, you mentioned the mentality of guys. in the 70s, 80s, 90s, there was a chance that you would get socked up if you were playing well. So guys would resort to do different things on the floor to take you out of your game. My question to you, BD, how much is that overstated? Are we always talking about guys today as if they're punks or as if they're soft, as if they can't handle those conditions? Like what's your advantage on guys today being able to withstand that side of the game that existed in the 70s and 80s?
I mean, at the end of the day, basketball is art. Basketball is a gentleman's game, right? But it's also highly competitive, and it's a contact sport, right? And so when you're looking at, dudes in this, even dudes in my era, you would say like, we weren't fighting, right? But you had to be physical.
Yeah.
You had to put on weight, right? Because my rookie year, I got Bobby Fields, Anthony Mason, like these dudes, David Wesley. Man, they living in the weight room. And if they grab you like this on your waist, like none of them shakes or none of that's like getting them, it was hard to get separation, you know what I mean, and get them off you. And so when you start looking at the physicality of the game, back then the mentality was a fighting mentality because the pot and the pool was small. I've been playing basketball all my life. If I get cut, it ain't no other place to go.
Yeah.
Ain't no social media. It ain't no, you just a, tall person working at Home Depot, because you can pull the cans off, and that's kind of like where these dudes, you could go and play one-on-one and make $250,000 off the internet. So the skills always are transferable.
Right.
It's just the evolution of the time that it's taken to create this mode of player, right? With all the people around versus self-made.
Yeah. Well, and
that was sick.
Yeah, and to Chris's point, I mean, the story I tell is there was a story about a Phoenix Suns player, great player, Hall of Fame caliber player, who came to the bench teared up and crying. And so his teammate, Dennis Johnson from Compton, was like, bro, what's wrong with you? And they're playing the Lakers. So this player said, Michael Cooper just slapped me. Michael Cooper just slapped me. And it took this guy, and I won't say the guy's name because I don't want to put him on blast. But
you already put him on blast.
Took this guy completely out of his game. But then when I was telling Chris, but Coop was from Pasadena. That wouldn't have the same impact on me or on you. Yeah, I mean, he wouldn't think about doing anything like that. You know what I mean? Pasadena, Crenshaw, Pasadena, East Side, LA, where you grew up.
But Coop would get down, like what I mean. It's like that's where people used to get it messed up. Back in y'all days, like, oh, okay, he from Pasadena. He was
tough.
On me.
He was tough, but I'm saying, but he wasn't the toughest that I'd ever seen. You know what I mean?
Right.
He was tough. But it wasn't like I'm just, Coop is going to intimidate me. It's like,
I'm not walking around scared that Coop going to beat me up.
Exactly. I played in the trade tech league when the referees carried guns. Lorenzo Clark and these guys had pistols in their pockets and players were attacking each other with crutches and all. You see some crazy
just different.
Stuff.
Yeah, it was. And I would say, the eras were built different. You were built to really hate somebody. Right.
Yeah.
So a LA dude, a East Coast dude, they did not like each other game. They thought each other was better than and when it was a clash, it was a real clash, right?
Yeah.
Now these kids, they don't come from a place or a style. It's just the system is this is what he wants you to do. Pump fake, get a piece of the paint.
Cookie cutter.
Do the step back. But when you look at certain people like Giannis would translate. He wouldn't score 250 points, but he could translate. He would be a good player in that era.
Sure.
Giannis would be a great player. Would probably be a great player in that era, but he would have to learn a whole lot more and be on his own a whole lot more because you wouldn't have the coaches, the ecosystem, the patience, all that. None of that. none of that was around. Like think about, it was like think about Darko Milicic.
Right.
Darko was not a bad player.
Good player.
Right? They just nobody had time.
Right.
And nobody had time to groom Darko to be the next Rashid or whatever he wanted to be. Man, they was like, what? You don't do what? Bye.
Yeah. Right.
Like the patience was small.
We're throwing you out there. Sink or swim on your own volition.
These dudes getting drafted 19, 20, starting. You 3-4 years, don't pan out, So it's a lot more patience, but it's also, I would say, it's more systematic.
Right.
And so these kids are like highly skilled, like they are what we all wanted to be. Right? As far as like, damn, I wish I could jump that high.
They got back.
Damn, I wish I could shoot like that. Damn, I wish I could move like that. Like just the way that like this era, like, and I appreciate that, right? I really do appreciate those guys and these guys, because it's like watching yourself in its youngest form. Right. And so maybe the system makes them play in patterns, which causes for less originality. When back in the day, you had to build yourself as an original brand.
Yeah, and you had to come in, because you talk about Giannis. I mean, Giannis, there was an incubation period. He was coddled. He was nurtured. They were patient with him. You get into the wrong system back in the day, you was out of the league in 2 or 3 years.
Bang.
They may give you a year or two to show it, and if you don't, you're out of there. If the Bucks were to somehow pull it together, Bobby Portis comes back, Dame comes back from the blood clots, everybody that's injured is healthy, and they make this incredible run. They beat the Knicks in the first round. They beat the Celtics in the second round. They beat the Cavs in the finals. Giannis is turning things out, averaging 30. And why wouldn't he be MVP? Why can't you count them? And the impetus for me with this, Baron, is your playoff series against the Dallas Mavericks. When they were a 1 seed, you were at 8 at Golden State. Dirk Nowitzki, 67 wins, MVP, and you guys put them out in that first round. To me, it's always been about the total body of work that a player does during the course of an entire season. And I don't see anything. Back in the day, you had to have MVP ballots in through mail. Now it's computerized voting, instantaneous. To me, I don't see nothing wrong with waiting to see how this thing plays out before the ballots are due. So now you can base a guy in terms of being most valuable on the totality of the season and what he does in the most important part of that season to help his team win. So just your thoughts on Giannis and where he stands between Shea and Jokic, who are great players. But, just your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I would say, it's really who having the best season and, who's having an incredible, most unstoppable season. The year with Dirk, like it was clear cut. He was going to be the MVP. He was on the best team, and when Dallas walked in the building, you feared Dallas, but you knew Dirk, like it wasn't nothing you was going to do to stop him. You was just hoping he was off. Right. I think that is like kind of like now the same thing. Like it's Giannis is third in the conversation.
Right.
Period. Like what Joker is doing, what Shea is doing.
What's Joker doing? 16,
what is,
bro, why are you on that? Why is everybody on that?
It's not. Do you watch Joker play?
All the time.
It's damn, I like watching him play.
Yeah.
Right?
He does play a pure brand.
And then you're watching, like, how is he doing that? He's so effective. He's the focal point of that offense. And so with a player with that much freedom, with that's everything going through him, right? Yeah. Every single thing, right? Yeah. His responsibility, attention to detail, right? And his trust is like on a whole nother level because he can do it all. He does everything.
Yeah.
He does everything. It's crazy. He does everything. Then you look at Shea and you say, well, how can you beat that? Well, go watch Shea play. Because they say, oh, it's just the points. It's just the points. No, he locking up.
Mm-hmm.
He like 1 in steals, like that, 1 or 2 in steals. That mean a lot.
Yeah.
Steals, like he not just like steals mean a lot. That's steals, that's deflect. That's the steals he not getting. The deflections, right? So when you watch him play, they number 1 in defense, right? I think they like number 1 in defense, like team defense. And when you watch him play, you like, damn, dude, like not only is it easy for him on offense, like he locking up too. He's not vulnerable. So you get kind of like this Jordan-esque type of season. Right. Kobe-esque type of season from Shea with the number 1 team versus Joker just having an incredible season. Right.
Well, to your point about Joker, man, I didn't realize this. I was listening to It Is What It Is with Mason Cameron, of all people. But Joker is number 3 in steals.
Yeah.
He's number 3 the third center in the history of the league to be top 5 in steals. That's Akeem.
Yeah.
And then Andre Drummond, which surprised me in 2017. But, I mean, he's third in steals, in terms of a big man, a center who I always looked at as a guy that didn't play defense. Defense was always the thing you could throw at him. Well, he don't play no D. He's number 3 in steals.
But he doesn't play D. He doesn't play D. Like, let's be real.
He's number 3 in steals. He's doing something.
Hey, Chris, you look at his
defensive rating. Look at his defensive rating, and then we can come up with how
what is
valuable
what is his defense?
Look at it. I don't know.
What is his defensive rating?
We can look at it, and once we look at it, then you will say, okay, hold on. What I see from Joker a lot of times, though, is maybe he's solid defensively, but it seems like when Denver is trying to win a game or they're getting to those positions where you need to stop, I always see Joker just kind of, he's not doing a Giannis, right? Getting up to the top of the square for a block. He's whiffing. He's getting out the way. Look, I like his game on the offensive side of things. I just feel like in order to be the MVP, and this year I'm going with probably Giannis or Gilgeous-Alexander, you got to be able to do it on both sides in the NBA at a high level and contribute. That helped you win ball games. So I don't know where are you at with it, BD. Do you agree or you're not rolling?
Okay, say Joker defensive rating is estimating the number of points a player allows per 100 possession. Okay. His defensive rating stands at 110.
Okay. So that's pretty bad. The higher the number, the worse. The higher the number, the worse it is.
110 in today's NBA is not that bad, actually.
Oh, that's true. Right. That's true.
Today's NBA.
That's true, Ian. That's true.
Top defensive teams are giving up, 110, 108, 109.
All right.
So that's not
okay. And then Giannis, his defensive rating this year is 109.
Yeah.
Oh.
So, right.
That's a lot better, though. That's a point better. So I'm going with Giannis.
All right, man. But Baron, let's go, man. But before we do, Bart Oatmeal, where you at with that? Your alter ego? I mean, you got a whole rap thing going on, man. It's been beautiful to watch develop over the years. Just quickly talk about that and we'll get you out of here.
Yeah, shout out to oatmealradiocafe.com. I decided, in my second career, I wanted to be a creative. And I really wanted to start making music, producing music, because I was making content and I was selling shows, but they wouldn't let me direct. They wouldn't let me act. So I was like, man, maybe I can just make the music and be a music supervisor. And then that translated into making beats. The beats translated into nobody rapping to my beats. So I had to rap to my own beats to try and upsell them. And then, I just started connecting with a lot of my goal was I started studying rap and saying everybody in rap is an alter ego. Like when you think about it, what is Busta Rhymes' real name? YG, everybody has a mantra, has an alter ego, has a WWE character and a persona. And so that's how Bart Oatmeal came about. was like, how can I build a persona of, you know, an artist that can articulate what LA looked like from the hood to Santa Monica, Inglewood, like how do you implement all of this LA texture into a sound, right? That I wanted to convey out, that I felt like, you know, could be my own. And so just looking at rap, it was just another outlet similar to basketball, where it's like an opportunity to just, you know, to heal, right? To speak, to communicate. Like a lot of times you just gotta like let the screams out or say what you gotta say. And so that's why I chose that. And, you know, it was just an extension of my writing. And now Bart Oatmeal, Still Cut 1 is out. My birthday coming up, April 13th. Still Cut 2 coming out. We got Live from the Swap Meet. Then we going into the Year of Love, you know, because I gotta make sure.
Live from the Swap Meet.
Hey, boss, I got a whole soul album. I got a soul group called the Ghetto Bowl. Yeah, we gonna have the Soul Sundays here in Slick.
Y'all
You may catch me singing some backgrounds. You know,
all good, bro. Listen, man,
we got a whole 70s vibe. Whoa.
Yeah. I am so proud of you, man, and not just what you've accomplished as a ball player, but even more so, man, the things that you're doing now, man. And you just, again, one of the most iconic figures in Los Angeles sports history, and it's just been a privilege to know you and continued success in everything you do. And you're the golden child. Whatever you touch just turns to gold, man. And it's just been a privilege having you on here, District, man. Thanks for taking the time to join us, Baron.
Yeah, I mean, I give you a lot of credit for just paving the way. You've always been an example of like all the different things that an LA basketball player can do, an LA person can do, you know, from acting to announcing to, you know, being my Hall of Famer. Let's say that, to being my Hall of Famer and my Hall of Fame, right? And you left a trail, right? That, you know, through Kris, I had the privilege of like even knowing more, right, about the legacy. Through Nelly, asking him, even knowing more, right? So, you know, there'd be no Steven Jackson if there's no Marques Johnson, right?
Yeah.
And so,
breadcrumbs,
you know,
breadcrumbs,
you think,
baby. That's some breadcrumbs for y'all. Some breadcrumbs, man. For y'all to follow.
And Kris just being a big bro, our time at UCLA, I just, you know, I think this is a cool show, a dynamic show. Kris, you know, is one of the smartest dudes that I've ever met in my life. And I think I adopted a lot of his personality, you know, as a freshman at UCLA. He used to call me thy covenant. And me and Earl.
Thy covenant.
Thy covenant.
Laugh so much, MJ. Thy covenant. Thy covenant.
Hey, dude, but Kris.
The covenant.
Kris.
The covenant blood.
Thy covenant.
Kris, I thought it was a compliment for about 2 months until me and Earl was sitting in the dorm. I was like, dude, why does he keep calling us thy covenant? Like, what is that mean?
Oh, that's hilarious. All right, man, get out of here. Go sign your record deal, man. We thank you so much, man.
Thank you, man. Love y'all, man. Congrats.
Love you too, boy.
All right, here, District. Marques Johnson, captain of this vessel. We wanted to thank Baron Davis, one of the most iconic figures in basketball lore.
Easily.
And especially LA. You talk about LA. It's funny, and Kris, we were talking to Baron about where he would rank in terms of point guards. I said somewhere in that top 3 to 5, and he was like 2 at the lowest behind Raymond Lewis. And that's Baron, and that's how Baron is. He's got his confidence it's swag and confidence without being boastful or obnoxious. You know what I'm saying? And he's always been that way.
No, and that's how he played the game, and that's how he carries himself and everything that he does, which makes him why he's BD. He's the lovable BD.
B Diddy, the coveted,
thy coveted,
thy coveted,
Earl, thy coveted freshman.
Thy coveted. Yeah, that was funny. But listen, man. And speaking of iconic, and in turn, we talked to Baron about Hall of Fame. He had some great insights behind that, and that's a topic that's personal to me. Once again, I was a finalist for the NBA Hall of Fame, the Naismith Hall of Fame. Let me make sure I clarify that, because it's not the NBA Hall of Fame. It's the Naismith Hall of Fame, the National Basketball Hall of Fame.
Yep.
So what you've done all throughout your basketball career, your high school career, your collegiate career, what you did as a professional. So, but it's not just the NBA. And so there's a guy by the name of John DeLeva who's been my personal Grim Reaper, Chris, because he's the guy that's responsible for
Delivering the news.
delivering
That
the
dude.
glad tidings or the bad tidings. And let's take a listen to kind of what it sounds like. Let's take a listen to what disappointment sounds like.
Hi, Mr. Johnson. It's John DeLeva at the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame calling. I'm calling to tell you, unfortunately, you did not receive the required number of votes to be elected to the class of 2025. Thank you for being a part of this consideration.
Yeah, so then that's the crux of it. And it's funny, Chris, the first time I got that call from John, the Grim Reaper, I was with Walter Mosley, a great novelist.
You were with Walter Mosley?
We were on a transatlantic flight from New York LaGuardia to LAX, sitting in first class. I was telling him this was the day I was going to get the news. He kind of Googled me and said, "Oh, no, looking you up. You belong in the Hall of Fame. You're going to make it." And so as we're walking down the hallway of LAX, headed to baggage claim, I look at my voicemail and I see John DeLeva, and the Hall of Fame is called, and I want to let Walter share in on some of this good news, because I'm one of his biggest fans in the world. I've read every book that he's written. And so I play the voicemail, and it's the disappointing news that you didn't make it. And Walter Mosley almost shed a tear. He was so hurt. He was more hurt than I was. He's like, "I don't believe that. I can't believe that. Are you kidding me?" And so that was that first time. The second time, I got the news. Clyde Frazier called me and told me, he had been denied a few times, and to F them and don't let them define who I was. I was a basketball player. So here's the third time. And I didn't talk about it a lot to you or anybody else in the family, people close to me, about the prospects, how I was feeling when people would say, "Well, oh yeah, you're definitely going to get in this time," looking at the body of work and compared to other people that are eligible. It's disappointing, without question, to not get the call that says that you've been elected as a Hall of Famer, because there's something special about that, being inducted into that elite group of athletes that I've so admired all throughout my lifetime. But at the same time, Chris, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. If it's not, it's not. I can't worry about things I can't control. And as Baron Davis talked about on our podcast, it's all about what the peers remember you as. And for me, the guys I played against, the Alex Englishes of the world, who was my backup in Milwaukee at the small forward spot, Bernard King, a guy that I had some great battles with, Walter Davis, my rookie year, Larry Bird, Dr. J, James Worthy. I mean, you go on down the list of all these tremendous forwards. And I was in the golden age of forwards too. When I played between Bird and Dominique and Bernard King and Dr. J, and off night you might have a Larry Nance at 6'10" at the small forward, who was a tremendous player in his own right. So anyway, so Chris, then that means something. It's about the mark that you left with your peers. And I say that to you too, because you're another guy who doesn't quite get the credit when they're talking about all-time greats out of LA, two-time state champion from Crenshaw High School, national champion at UCLA, the resume, the senior year at UCLA, 18, 19 points a game, 20 plus points a game in conference play. Trust me, the people that you played against, bro, they respect who you are, what you were as a player, and the problems that you created in their lives on the basketball floor. So yes, the Hall of Fame means a lot. It would mean a lot. It would be special. But at the same time, it doesn't I can't define my insides about what you think of me on the outside. You know what I mean? And so my inside as a man, as a ball, I've overcome so much substance abuse. I've been sober coming up on 23 years now. To me, that's one of my greatest accomplishments. We can clap to that. That's one of my greatest accomplishments. And so, from the doorway of death, to being able to turn my life around. So The Hall of Fame would be special, but it's not going to make or break who I am. And I don't know, not that I think people would expect that on a certain level, the disappointment they would expect that, but at the same time, we're built from different stock. You and I, this family, the patriarch and matriarch of our family, that goes beyond that to my ancestors and the journey that they've had. One of the things that's special about how we were brought up, I was able to get from my mom and dad, like a griot, old-fashioned griot storyteller, stories of just kind of things that we've had to overcome as a family, as a people. And so the Hall of Fame is special. Don't get me wrong, man, but man, life is special. And raising a family of high achievers and children that are doing positive things in their life and they're spending time with me when they don't have to. I mean, those are the things that mean more to me than anything else in the world, and that have the ultimate value in my life today. So yes, Hall of Fame would be great, but man, if it'll happen, it'll happen. If it doesn't, it doesn't in life, and life goes on.
Well, and yeah, to your point about your peers, MJ, every basketball experience that I've ever had in my life, whether it be training camp with the Denver Nuggets, where Clyde Drexler and Kiki Vandeweghe was the GM and Clyde Drexler was the assistant coach, but and Louis Dampier was an assistant coach. So all three of these guys, when I'm at camp, made it a point to spend 10, 15 minutes talking to me, treating me a certain type of way, showing me love. But then ultimately, you were the top of the conversation throughout my whole basketball life. So the validation from your peers is there. Whether or not the Hall of Fame, the Naismith Hall of Fame thinks you're a Hall of Famer, as you just said, is irrelevant. You are a Hall of Famer to us. You're a Hall of Famer to an entire generation, to all your kids, everybody that loves you. And you have had a Hall of Fame, in my opinion, post kind of career where this thing with the substance abuse, dude, like the way people really don't understand. I was there, so I understand the full scope of everything on who you were and on who you are. Bro, it's just like one of the most amazing things I've ever seen done. But MJ, before we let you go, before we end this, there's some folks that have something to tell you about what they think about you.
Mr. Johnson, Marques, God bless you with an unbelievable talent. You touched a lot of people's lives, including mine.
You inspired me in so many different ways. You forced me to be a better basketball player.
Once I saw Marques, I knew that my time at the top of the forward list was going to be short. I just wish him the best.
I got to see him, from the beginning. He was a great player, number one.
That California style of play.
The other teams, who are great players too, had a hard time defending him.
I just thank you for who you are and what you meant to the game. Don't get too high, don't get too low.
You are loved, respected, and greatly appreciated, not only for being a great player, but also a tremendous person.
You're going to be always a Hall of Famer through the Bucks' eyes, always. Not just the organization, but through the city of Milwaukee.
Coop slapped me. man.
How you like that? How you like that, bruh?
I feel like crying, man. That's special, man. Thank you so much for putting that together. And
bonus.
Special. We talk about the peers, man, and that and listen, and guys like that don't just blow smoke up your behind just for the sake of it. You know what I mean?
No, they don't. No, they don't.
They would say some gracious things, but when we talk about who we respect as basketball players, I mean, we speak from the heart, we speak it honestly, and that's something that has tremendous value to me. All right, here, District, man. Got emotional around here today. What a great show. And Chris, thank you, and our producers, Monas and Dylan, for hooking that up, man. And
big ups.
That means a lot. Means a lot. All right, here, District, we're out of here. We'll see you next time.
This has been a Bucks Plus audio production.